There are all kinds of people moving to Calgary, Alberta, and don't get me wrong, there is a lot to be said about Calgary in terms of the affordability, the mountains, and the food scene. Now, that being said, Calgary is not for everybody, and in this video, we're going to get into the specifics on why Calgary actually might not be a good place for you to move to. So, on that note, we've gone ahead and listed the top 7 reasons why you should not move to Calgary. Let's get after it. Hey everyone, it's Riley Nichols here with the Bricks Real Estate Group, and we have been selling real estate in Calgary for a number of years. If you are someone who is thinking about purchasing or selling in the next 90 days, use the link in the description to book a quick call with us. We'd love to support you on your real estate journey. Now, one of the challenges that I see with working in the industry so long is when people actually move here, it's not what they expected. So we want to go over stuff that people don't talk about, the bad, the ugly, the stuff that as Calgarians, we just don't talk about because we think it's awesome, but some of this stuff is not that awesome. So again, we want to get your expectations set off right. So if you are someone who is thinking about making a move here, you know exactly what you're getting into. So reason one that I want to cover is actually how spread out Calgary is as an overall city. Now, a lot of people like Calgary in comparison to, say, Vancouver and Toronto because it's a smaller city, it's a little more intimate, and it's not as much hustle and bustle. Now, while that may be true, Calgary is extremely spread out. So for the most part, you are going to need a car for your transportation depending on where you need to go. And if you need to get from area to area or mall to mall or suburb to suburb, sometimes you're driving on the highway for 15, 20, even 30 minutes. And now I know that might not seem like much because sometimes, again, if you're in Vancouver or Toronto, you could be stuck in traffic for quite a while, but you are traveling a pretty significant distance to get to any set destination. So there's going to be a lot of drive time. You're going to be in your car for quite a while. And I'll touch on one of my future points about LRT and transit. It's efficient, but it's definitely not as efficient as some of the other major metropolitan cities like Vancouver, like Toronto. The second thing that I want to touch on is the bus and the LRT system. Now, this is our bus system that runs throughout the city and also the LRT system. Now, keep in mind, our LRT and bus system are infants in comparison to like Vancouver and Toronto. We don't even have a train that runs to the airport. That was actually something that was in the books and then it did not get passed. And that would have been a big thing for Calgary to actually have the LRT going straight to the airport. We would truly be an awesome metropolitan city. Now, the system is good, it's decent, but again, you got to remember how cold it is outside in the wintertime. Sometimes if you're waiting for a bus that again is not as efficient and it takes more time to show up, you might be sitting in a bus stop in minus 35 for 45 minutes until your next bus comes around. The other thing with the LRT is it doesn't run all night. I think it closes at 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. So again, if you're someone maybe working night shift, that could cause some difficulties because again, getting to and from work, and again, the efficiency of our train and our bus system is just not that great. So again, people talk about how good it is. It's not as awesome as everybody says. The third thing that I want to touch on is the actual economic landscape of Calgary and Alberta as a whole and how reliant our economy is on the oil and gas sector. Now, in 2008 market crash, that was synonymous across many different markets. In 2013 and 2014, oil and gas was really strong and doing extremely well in Calgary. And as a result, jobs were thriving, people were making lots of money, real estate was booming, and everything was going really well. As soon as oil and gas tanked, so did our market, so did housing, so did jobs, so did everything, right? It becomes so heavily reliant on our oil and gas sector, and that's not necessarily a place that you want to be in as a consumer, right? If we're not diversified, and 80% of our per capita income is focused on just the oil and gas sector, well, if that goes done, then it creates a lot of difficulty, right? There's going to be more job loss, house prices are going to go down. So again, Calgary and Alberta is a bit of a one-trick pony in that sense. I know that government is trying to diversify a little bit and add different streams of revenue for the economy and for Alberta as a whole, but again, our economy is heavily reliant on oil and gas, and that could be a problem at certain times. If you've gotten some value from this video so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can keep producing awesome content, and hit that bell if you want to be notified when we release a new video. The fourth thing that I want to cover is Calgary doesn't really have a whole lot of natural rivers or lakes. Now, if you go to Toronto, you go to Vancouver, there are lakes and rivers everywhere. There's tons of bodies of water. And you've also got the ocean in Vancouver and BC markets. And then you've got tons of Great Lakes in Ontario. Calgary doesn't really have any of that. You have to go pretty far out west to actually get to a lake, or really far north or really far south. And again, it's pretty minimal. You got a lot of flat land everywhere. Flat farmland is basically what it comes down to. And you've got developers, when they're building new communities, that are digging massive holes and creating small man-made lakes Now, there are lake communities in Calgary, don't get me wrong, and some of them are beautiful and they're good spots to raise families, but these are not natural lakes made by nature. These are lakes that are built by builders and developers to make communities look more enticing. So again, if you're someone who loves water, you like being by water, Calgary might not be the right place for you. Again, I'm not saying there's no water in Calgary, but if we're referencing other markets like Ontario and BC, it is like nil. There's hardly anything here. Reason number 5 is flat. Everything is flat. Flat, 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 flat. You got farmland everywhere. I mean, if you go further out west, you got nice rolling hills and some streams and stuff like that. If you go all the way east, flat farmland straight to Saskatchewan. You go all the way north, straight farmland and flat all the way to Edmonton. You go all the way south, straight flat farmland the whole way through. The only way you're going to get out of the flat territory is if you go out west and start heading towards the mountains. But overall, there is so much farmland in Alberta, and it's a good thing. Agriculture is a good thing, but that is why everything is so spread out and it takes so long to get everywhere, because everything is flat. Reason number 6 is the weather. Now, everybody talks about weather in their videos when they're talking about moving to Calgary, and I want to touch on a few things that people maybe don't talk about the weather. It's freezing cold. Like, there is no two ways about it. It is freezing cold. This video is shot in December right now, and when I go outside, my face hurts. My snot freezes. It's freezing cold, okay? So just get that through your head. If you do not like the cold, do not move to Calgary, do not move to Alberta, because you have to just deal with it. And you have to deal with it by going snowboarding or going skiing to try to make yourself feel good about living in the cold weather. Now, on top of that, you've got the coldness, but you've also got Chinook winds that come over the mountains, create warm air, and that is really hard to deal with for a lot of people. When you have rise in temperatures and sudden drops in temperatures that happen on a consistent basis, it can really mess with your head. People get migraines all the time because of the Chinooks that come in here. The snow will melt, it'll get super icy outside and slushy, and your truck gets dirty, your car gets dirty, your clothes get muddy, and then all of a sudden it freezes again, and then there's ice, and then there's more accidents on the road, and then it gets cold, and then it gets warm, and it's just this cyclical cycle of coldness and Chinook winds. And some people say, oh yeah, it's great. Chinook winds are awesome because then it's not cold anymore. But they're not thinking about everything melting and freezing and more traffic and more accidents, and it can really just be a huge pain in the Last but not least is reason number 7, and that is poor build quality in some new neighborhoods and some builders throughout the city. The other thing is all the houses in the suburbs look the exact same. When you go into a new community, you have 3 or 4 different models, they all look the same, and it's box after box after box after box. Now, I know in a lot of new communities and new subdivisions, this is going to be the case in a lot of different markets. But one thing that you want to look out for, there are great builders in Calgary, there are not so great builders, and they put up these houses extremely quickly. Quicker than you would think. You would drive by once to go check out a new community, you drive by a couple months later, and all of a sudden the house is already framed, it's already getting shingled, and it's already ready to go. That happened pretty quick. So again, if you are considering moving here, make sure you arm yourself with the right information, you work with a reputable builder that you trust, because a lot of homes and new construction that I see, there are a lot of corners that are cut, stuff that you do not see under the flooring, you do not see behind the drywall, and these are definitely things as a consumer that you need to look out for. Now again, I'm not bashing all the builders. There are amazing builders in Calgary, but there are some that just scrape by the building code and they get their product pushed out really, really quickly. And then you as a consumer, after you move in, you're gonna have a deficiency list that's this long of stuff that needs to get fixed. And sometimes it's even a pain to get the builder back in there to fix everything for you. So again, something to look out for. Now, if you are looking at buying or selling real estate in the next 9 to 90 days, please use the link in the description to book a call with us. We would love to service you and help you on your real estate journey. I hope you all got some value from this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys think about Calgary as a whole and maybe what some cons that you've experienced are. And again, you can check out one of our latest videos right up here.